is lots of number swapping and getting to know one another. Excellent, that's what I like to hear. It's all good stuff. So next up, we've got an exciting fireside chat session, and our speakers are going to share some interesting and amazing viewpoints on the subject of 7 presentation mistakes that are killing your brand. So imagine you're on a stage like this, which I'm sure a lot of you do. How many of you do public speaking? How many, you all get up on stage and do this? Okay, so you've got your pitch deck, you've got your slide deck, you're doing your presentation, it's amazing, and you look at the room and nobody's paying attention to you. It's the worst thing in the world. I used to love it when I used to do team building exercise and we used to go and take everybody's phones off them. Then you'd have their undivided attention. But it's really, really hard. But don't worry, we've got these guys here to give you all the tips. So you're already sat on stage, which I like. So big hello to Kevin Somerbang, founder and creative director at Kinetic Slides. Hi, Kevin, sat in the middle there. We've got Venkat Shankarnarayan, founder and CEO of BluStream Marketing Solutions. Hi, Venkat. Make sure all your microphones on. They probably need to turn them on, just flick up. There we go.
On, yeah.
And also Nikita Prokhorov. He's the founder and CEO of Reputation House. Hi to you as well. So
thank you.
I'm going to hand over to you guys, and I'm really interested to hear what you have to say.
All right, so I'm going to start this off. I guess all of you have had lunch. How many of you are sleepy? Please raise your hands. Okay, so can we get some? Yeah. Only a few. So we should get some coffee for those who are. But other than that, I think we're going to get this right out of the way and quickly introduce ourselves. So I run a digital marketing agency in India, work with a couple of clients in the US and UAE as well. My friend here, Kevin's going to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, so my name is Kevin Somerbang from the Philippines. I own a presentation design agency. It's called Kinetic Slides, and we create pitch decks that raises millions for real estate deal makers in the US. Take it away.
Yes, my name is Nikita Prokhorov. I'm a co-founder of Reputation House. It is one of the largest online reputation engines in the world. We gather and we see the whole, almost all messages in internet in real-time mode. We can delete any information out of internet, YouTube channels, videos, posts. We can delete everything for you. And that is why presentations are very crucial for me, because sometimes for people it's very strange issues. Delete information? Really? That is why I know something about presentation, and I will try to share my experience with you today.
Okay, so I'm going to take it at the top and say that, so today's discussion, if I don't know how many of you know, but it's all about the 7 biggest mistakes that you're going to make while making a presentation that can absolutely destroy your brand, right? And that's us being disruptive. So I'm going to start off by saying, what is the first big thing? What is the first biggest mistake that you would end up making? It is to sort of start out without having the end in mind, right? So if you don't know what that presentation is about, I think you need to sort of go in and understand that before you sort of go out there and start, giving a speech or, pitching. So yeah, so I'd like to sort of ask Nikita and Kevin to sort of add in and jump in on these points.
Yeah, without having the end in mind, there's really zero or weak call to action, and that's not what we wanted to have, right? You're gonna kill your brand if in the first place you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't know what response you want from the audience. Is it to give you a call or your team a call? Is it to email you, or is it to join the movement?
Of course, speaker should keep in mind his final idea, because sometimes people look at speaker, guys, what are you talking about? 7 mistakes, we just want to have a coffee. I hope that you have had enough time for your coffee. But you should remember one very interesting issue. I have seen a very cool presentation that normal people can keep in mind only 7 main facts. So speaker should be sure that people will understand his main idea and his core facts. I can tell you one very cool story. I have more than 70 presentations every year in 12 countries in 4 languages. And I always have to adapt my content to every new country. And presentations and conferences is my main sales channel. I have more than 200 employees, so I have to pay them their salary, so I have to be sure that my presentations are the best. But you have already heard that I do online reputation. But most of you remember only one fact. This guy can delete YouTube videos. But actually, we all have told you some interesting facts. But which will you remember? Delete information. Nikita, call me today evening, okay? So, what should we do? First of all, we have to create some kind of audit of this audience. Have you all have your lunch? Yep. Okay, guys, and please now raise your hands. Who enjoys this conference? Come on, come on, come on. Oh,
Yeah, okay, we do. Yeah.
you. Why do you? Yes, you. Why do you enjoy this conference? Tell something. Don't worry. Food. Okay, food. Very cool. Thank
Food,
you.
oh my goodness.
Thank you.
You made her say that.
Yes, thank you.
She's honest.
She enjoys food. For example, some guy enjoys a presentation. I hope that, for example, you enjoy this guy and this guy. But you all will remember one interesting issue. And in any way, in any crisis situation, all of you will find something main and something important on this conference. But what will it be? For example, food. For example, coffee. And if speaker don't care about this interesting fact, you will remember food or something like that. So guys, let's try to persuade people that we have some interesting facts and be sure that they will remember interesting facts.
Absolutely.
And
So,
coffee, yes.
On that note, I think the next big thing is not knowing who you're actually giving that presentation to, right? And as important as it is to set out with the objective in mind, you also need to know that there are these bunch of people that you're going to be presenting to. And if you don't connect with them, then that's going to be an issue in itself, right? So, yep, Nikita. Or Kevin was.
Yeah, talk about relatability, right? We were talking about relatability with a beautiful lady in there on our right? And then it's not, the idea that we have like 10 years ago might not be the same and might not work for the younger generations who are here are Gen Zs. Come on, raise your hands. Gen Zs. Oh, only me? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I'm mentally there.
Oh my gosh. All right, so we talk differently, right? And so if you're faced with older generations, you got to adapt to their language, to how they speak, even to the colors that they use in their presentations. I used to work in the corporate setting, and then one of my boss is let's say a 57-year-old female, and then she likes solid colors. Knowing that she is one of my approver for that particular project, I had to use solid colors. Why? Because that's one of her strong approval points, so to speak, psychologically, subconsciously.
Yep. First of all, speaker should know the main target of his presentation. But it is uneasy to understand what is the target of you guys. Why are you here and what are you going to get from us? That is why we have, as I have already said, we have to create an audit of audience. Every time when you are going to present something, you should create an audit, a survey about the audience. So look at each other. There are 50 people or something like that. Most of you wear very expensive suits. I'm glad for you guys. We speak different languages. We prefer very cool food. And let's try to understand what can we present to you and how can we present for you. That way we will sell you everything. First of all, how can we present our information? Looks like, Kevin, we don't have presentation. Yeah. Sorry, we can, or why don't we have presentation? Very cool issue. So we can only talk. For how long can we talk? We have 40 minutes. You don't see it, but I see that we have 40 minutes. Then we can try to understand who are we. We are marketers. I hope it's marketing conference, right? Yep. Okay, thank you. I haven't missed my room. So we can talk about marketing and something about marketing. But what we don't know your positions. Are you bosses? Are you co-founders? Are you PR guys? And actually we can check your level of English. We speak English, but maybe they don't understand us. Do you understand us? Oh, very cool.
I see some nods.
Yes, it's great. Why I'm speaking about it, as I have already told, I have visited more than 12 countries this year, and I hope that you have ever been in Europe. If you haven't ever been in Europe, you should understand one fact. There are several countries in Europe where most people don't know English. And you can get in troubles if you are going to prepare your presentation in English. You can check. I like chats. You have to believe me. And I always have very, very long correspondence and long chats with all hosts of events. Do people know English? Are you sure? Right? Will I have presentation? No. Why? And I have my checklist. 25 questions to hosts. Some hosts hate me because of it, but this way I'm making myself sure that you will understand me. So if you are still looking for main idea from this conversation, I can offer you very cool idea. Make an audit, make a survey about your listeners, because maybe your audience will be much more complicated than you expect. Yeah.
Logical, right? Thank you for mentioning that, Nikita. So that's the second mistake that anyone can make, even a marketer can make, even a best sales agent can make, that is killing his or her brand. Now, what's the third one that is killing your brand? It's disregarding visual design consistency. Now, what does visual design consistency means? Now, every one of you, I'm sure she knows who Nancy Duarte is. So she's one of the, do you know her by chance? Nancy Duarte. All right. So she's one of the biggest presentation consultant in the US, and there are three things that she preaches about that makes a persuasive presentation. The first one is story. The second one is visual, and the next one is delivery. Now, for Kinetic Slides, we design presentations for real estate companies in the US who wanted to raise millions of dollars for their real estate developments, and that what makes one of the mistakes that we see from their slides is that it's different. The look and feel is different from their website, from their social media, and that is hurting their brand. In what way? You know, brand awareness. So even color is a very important visual element that we know when we see, it is somewhat attached or linked to a particular brand. So if you continue to use the color on your website, on your social media, even in your outfit, to your presentation deck, you are much more to be known by the audience.
No, thanks, Kevin. I think that is absolutely critical today, and how you sort of appear to the audience that you've targeted is important, right? So actually, visual cues speak a lot more than text. You might have odds and odds of data, and you would have probably done a lot of research and crammed in a lot of stats that you want to tell the client. But if you just put that in probably a presentation that has just text out there, I don't know how well that's going to be received. The other thing is that you want to get your brand out there when you're talking, right? And that sort of needs to have consistency. So it can't appear like a random bunch of slides have been strung together. And that's really what I think Kevin's talking about, right? So the idea here is to be consistent in pretty much everything that you do as a business. Yeah. And the presentation is the best way that you could probably demonstrate that, right?
The last thing that you want your audience to perceive you is that you're a scam. You know, when you receive a fishy email that has like pixelated images and that's not the same color as the Bank of America or stuff like that, you would automatically know that it is a scam. And similarly, if you use these elements wrongly, you would be perceived as a scam too.
Yeah. I have just understood that we have already business. Creation of information, delivery of information,
deletion of information. Yeah.
You can hire us. We will do everything for you. But speaking about visual, you should understand that different countries prefer different visual. For example, if you are going to have presentation for Eastern Europe, I am from Eastern Europe, you should understand that Eastern European people prefer pictures, bright designs. And last year I have presentation in one of the best American business schools. I sent them my presentation and they sent me reply, Nikita, very cool, you should keep only text. And what about design? Deleted text. White slides with black text? Yes, it's okay. And what about design? Oh, we don't need design, we need just a content. So maybe you will face such international client who will delete all your design. That is why before every my event, I always check a website of event, and then I check presentation from the previous year, because this way I will get information which design was okay last year, and I always use this way of design. So maybe it can be very cool strategy for you. Check websites of conferences, check websites of company, check social networks of bosses of your clients, because it can be a source of free information for you. But maybe you will make next mistake. Maybe you will try to add too much information and too much text to your content.
Yeah, okay, so coming to that next bit, right? Too much of information. I mean, how many of you here, please raise your hands, have seen a presentation that's more than 50 slides? Great, right?
I've
so
seen
what
a
did
lot.
you take out of that presentation? What did you learn at the end of it, right? So I'm sure everyone, by show of hands, hasn't really taken anything substantial out of those 50 slides. So it's not about the length of, or the duration of this presentation. We're probably speaking for another 10 minutes more, but at the end of the day, after this, if you took out even 2 things that we wanted you to, I think this was a good job, right? But coming back to why you shouldn't confuse your audience with too much of data, right? So you've got to keep it really, really simple. I think simple is the word there. I think it's substance over quantity. And that's really what drives a presentation today. I mean, yeah, and do you have any instances where
Yes, I
you've come
have
across
already
something
told
like
you that I have seen very cool presentations that people can keep in mind only 7 facts. But we have 7 mistakes of presentation, we have 3 speakers, so we have 21 main ideas for you. You won't remember them, you will remember 7 ideas. That is why I like notes. I use notes always. I see you make notes, you make notes. Guys who don't make notes, please do it for me. Because maybe tomorrow I will ask you, guys, what do you remember about our presentation? Some of you will tell us there were 3 guys,
3 guys.
Kevin and 2 his
That
friends.
was after lunch.
Yes,
Exactly.
and
At
that's
least they
all.
remember us.
Talked us for 40
Yes,
minutes. Yeah.
and I can offer you one more idea. Unfortunately, I don't have my solo presentation here, but I always use infographics in my presentations because people like to make photos on infographics. Sometimes I see my infographics in presentations of other speakers, but okay, it's normal. But infographics can be your cool way to deliver very complicated information.
Just think it this way. An effective pitch deck, a startup pitch deck, is usually somewhere around 12 to 13 slides only. Anything more than that, it's going to be boring for your audience.
Okay, moving on to then,
Yep. Okay, I can offer you
context.
Yes, context. My friends are sure that setting up of context it can be a very huge problem for speaker because we are 3 speakers and maybe you still don't understand 2 questions. Why are you here and why are you listening for us? If you still don't understand it, that it means that we are 3 are very bad speakers. So it is about the context of presentation. But let's talk about context. What is context? Context of presentation is like a big data. We all know, oh yes, context, Nikita, context is very important. But most of us can't explain context. What is it? Look at your neighbor right now. Look. It's very, your neighbor is context. This venue is context. Your beautiful lunch is context. I have heard a very cool idea on European conference last week that our home, our office, our staff, our friends, they all are our context. And our context set up our behavior. If you don't have cool business, if you don't have huge sales, maybe you have bad friends and maybe you have cool employees. So please set up context for every your presentation. Tell people what you're going to tell. Tell people why are you going to tell this thanks to our moderator. She has to do it for us. But, for example, Kevin works on pitch decks, speaking about pitch decks and investments. If you are going to attract some investments, if you are going to ask for investments, please do it in the best meeting room, in the best office building, because this way you will set very cool context to your future investors. And Kevin will give you a pitch deck. Yep.
You know the guy.
So add-on to context is basically storytelling, right? So if you don't have a story that leads on to something that's going to be what your presentation talks about, then there's no point, right? It's like saying, okay, you know what? Here's the slide, buy my product. That's it, right? It's done. but you're going to end up having your audience ask you, why should I buy this product? And if you've not answered that, then the whole idea of having a presentation was futile, is what I'd feel, right? You guys agree?
Agree. I feel like at the end of each presentation, you should give a hint to what's in it for the audience.
Yes, and speaking about context, you should feel yourself free to offer almost everything what you are going to add to this presentation. I hope that most of you are going to get higher sales and much more income this year. But are you sure that you have asked all your clients to increase payments? Are you sure that you have already contacted all leads which you have faced? Why do I do such a huge quantity of presentation every year? Because in some countries, people haven't even heard about online reputation management. That is why I tell people about online reputation management. That is why I always offer people free audit of their reputation online, and I feel free about it. And people see very cool context. Oh, this guy can do very good online audit, online reputation online. It is context too. If you are going to set up your own context, please, first of all, note what are you going to offer people. Every presentation should contain call to action. Free audit, call me, add me on LinkedIn, tweet me, send me likes on Instagram. It's okay. It's also about context.
I think what's the next biggest mistake that you can do? Personally, I think we've sort of crossed 5 mistakes now.
Yeah.
Can we ask you guys, what is it that you think are mistakes that would destroy your presentation, your brand, right? Apart from what we've just spoken right now, do you feel that something else is missing from the way that you deliver your presentations? Is it okay if we can ask someone to probably answer for us? Yeah. If anyone of you have, yeah. Talking too much about yourself. And that's amazing because that's exactly what we're going to talk about right now, right? So, the biggest mistake that you can do is be brand-centric versus being audience-centric. So you need to understand that the presentation that you're making is for the audience, right? It may be about your brand, but it is for the audience. So I think the idea here is to not talk too much about yourself in that presentation. And even if you do, it has to be in a way where it is, like he said earlier, contextual to the life of the person that you're giving this presentation to. And that brings us to this last point being,
The last point would be to have claims that are not backed up by data. Do you know Damon John? Damon John by the shark, one of the shark in Shark Tank, right? One of the things that automatically tags a pitch as a big no is saying that there is no competition. The reason to that is that there is always a competition. It may not be directly a competition, but is an alternative to what you are offering. So never ever say that you don't have competition. So you gotta make sure that when you say no competition, did you search? Did you go to other states? Are they offering something that is kind of similar or an alternative to what you're offering? Because if not, then at least to Dwayne, you're gonna be a no.
I suppose that all these issues are very connected. If people use information which are not backed up by any service, it is still about brand-centric. It is about a question from our guest. First of all, why we should keep balance between brand-centric and between interests of our clients? If we don't try to speak about ourselves, then people will never get information about ourselves. But first of all, we should understand that we do this mistake not only in presentation. We do the same mistake in our LinkedIn, in our Instagram, in our Twitter. Actually, we do this mistake every day. I was going to use a very bad word, but I have to stop myself. So, think about yourself. Who is your most beloved person? Whom you love most of all? Please don't tell me that it's your mom. It's yourself. Most of all, we love ourselves. So, what are we going to get? We are going to get information which will back up our love to ourselves. Maybe that is why most of us are not great influencers. Who are great influencers? They are not people who shows their superpower, who shows that they're very beautiful. They have find the way how to create content which will be useful to their subscribers, to their guests. So, of course, every presentation must be started with information about yourself. My friend, and myself. And today we are going to tell about some mistakes. But after that, we are trying to give you useful information for you. Of course, we have 24 minutes more, and we can tell you, well, buy something from Kevin, buy something from me, because we are cool guys. But it won't be interesting for you, because you remember the one thing that 3 salespersons
I
on
think
stage.
we're practicing what we preach. The idea is to keep it short. We've got those 7
Yes.
points out, and I think it's time to open up for questions, I guess.
Agree. I mean, if the audience wants
Yep.
some Q&A, then let's do it. Do you guys want Q&A? Oh.
I don't have a question, rather a comment, but I think for the larger audience, I think making presentations visually appealing and aesthetically it's nice, but at times people tend to divert attention from the main message in terms of when they're making it fancy. So keep it simple, use basic visuals, images, infographics, but I mean keep it simple. Like people tend to have a lot of animations, transitions. You tend to lose the message in the presentation. So
No, that's
Exactly, I
absolutely
totally agree about that. We want to make it simple and not complicated, less distracting.
Yeah, I think the simpler it is, and the way that you're able to put your point across, that is what really matters. So, yeah.
I agree with you, my friend. There are 2 cool ways of make any difficult content very simple. First of all, infographic, and second, ratings, top 10, less 10, and something like that. 1 year ago, we created a huge presentation about real estate market in Dubai. And there we have researched more than 12,000 real estate agencies in United Arab Emirates. And there was only one slide, top 10 real estate agencies in Dubai. And all mass media which were on the venue used only this one slide because it was very simple. Top 10, buy something from them. So I agree with you that we should try to do all things simpler.
Yep. Okay, as long as they're asleep, it's okay.
I can shout. I got a really loud voice, so it's not a problem for me. So, is this working now? So I got a curveball question for you. I know the answer to this one because I do it. What if you don't have a presentation? Something goes wrong. Your slides fail, PowerPoint's down. What are you gonna do?
Improvise.
But what is, okay, do you guys mind if this is M's giving you some added value because I coach this. Yes. I've just traveled all the way around the world coaching people how to be public speakers. What do you think the most important tool in your presentation toolbox is?
Voice.
Your voice. We say speaker, talker, explain. And I use an analogy that another coaching friend of mine does. You're in the medical profession, someone has a flat line. What happens when someone flatlines? They're dead. So you have someone on stage and it's really monotone and it's awful to listen to. What happens to your audience? They flatline. So your voice is the thing that is so powerful. Think of people like David Attenborough or Morgan Freeman. They could literally read the ingredients off the back of a cereal box and make it interesting because they have these beautiful voices. So the voice is something that so many people don't work on, and it's such a powerful thing. I went and did one of these presentations in Bangkok, and I knew that because people had come in from Indonesia, from Vietnam, that part of the world, they were much more reserved, not willing to put themselves out there. So I threw a curveball at them. I walked on stage and I said, you guys have got choices. I can give you the presentation that I planned, which had a beautiful PowerPoint, and it was amazing and fantastic, and I'd used it before. Or I can go off the cuff and do something crazy. Of course, they picked the latter. So the first thing I did was shut my PowerPoint down. She's not using a PowerPoint! What's happening? Literally the horror on their faces. And they were astounded to see someone walk around the stage, no PowerPoint, no notes, nothing, just completely off the cuff. And I think that's one of the keys to really good speaking is knowing what you're going to talk about so well. If things go wrong, you can just do it. You can just carry on. Anyway, voice is my jam. I love it. So.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I think it boils down to to a structured message, which is simplified in a way that would be understood by any of your audience, right? So even if we are a presentation design agency, it's not all the time that we advise people to have a pitch deck with them. Why? I mean, just take a look at Shark Tank, right? When you watch Shark Tank, there are a bunch of people who come in without a pitch deck. But what do they know? They have the main idea set in here. It's automatic. Even if they close their eyes, they know what they're talking about, right? So even if there's a presentation or not, it's gonna be, the pitch is gonna be successful.
I would like to add you one very distinct idea. It's connected with broken PowerPoint and pitch deck. More than 90% of people are afraid of being here on a stage. I can try to invite some of you and you will refuse. Oh, stage, microphone, it's something bad, something crucial. 10 years ago, I had my first presentation and it was a tragedy for me. Conference invitation, oh. But it was an invitation from my clients. That is why I decided, yes, let's try. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, every year I have more than 90 presentations in different countries. Nothing bad can happen with you here. Just believe me, nothing bad will ever happen here. Maybe you will have a bad presentation. It's not the end of your life. You will get experience. Right. Yes, even your ex-relation, ex-husband, ex-wife, it's all experience. We should enjoy our experience. I am twice divorced, so I'm very experienced guy, believe me. So try to take part in every conferences, in every webinars, and on every lunch, every dinner, every party, try to say at least very short speech. Let's congratulate today, for example, our moderator. People will remember, this guy or this lady can speak something interesting. Maybe people won't remember what we're talking about, but he told something, he's cool. So sometimes it's very important just to say something. I have a broadcast in a news channel several years ago, and I was supposed to have two minutes of speech. But during the second minutes, operator me, Nikita, beautiful, 5 minutes more. Okay, I was supposed to tell something about what? About marketing, something about marketing. Actually, it was a very good experience. Just believe me, nothing bad will even happen without you. Do presentation when you can do it. Have fun.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I enjoy this moment.
And it's like that old saying, you're only ever as good as the last thing you did, right? The last presentation you gave was what people remember you for. So the last thing you did, you never stop there. You always want to see, okay, how do I improve the next one? How do I get better the next time? What can I do differently? How can I challenge myself and push myself out of the box?
I completely agree. I think that's what we take as a benchmark. I think what the last website we made, the only agenda is to make the next website better than that, right? And it's the same with presentation. It's the same with pretty much everything that we do. So, yep.
I have one very distinct cheat for you. It's my own cheat, but you can use it too. Unfortunately, I have found it not long ago, but if you are going to take part in such panel discussion, fire chat, it doesn't matter. Actually, it is a very complicated format. Without presentation, we know each other for several hours, maybe several days. But first of all, I can tell them about it. We discussed before. What are we going to discuss? That is why we know main ideas of each other. That is why we can play with each other. Yeah. And if you have choice, please take the first speaker, or the last speaker. Because most of all, people will remember first speaker and last speaker. And it is very tough to be second, third, fourth, and fifth speaker if there are 20 speakers. Sometimes people are afraid to being first. Oh, I don't know them.
I also want to add one thing. It's also very, very important to not
Yeah.
talk after lunch.
Yes.
Is what I realize.
Right, so Nikita's in the next panel. Make Nikita in the middle.
Yes.
You just completely did
I
yourself
can tell you
out of that
one
one.
very interesting thing. Actually, next panel will be about ethical business. And I delete information. And when host of this event know, Nikita, you delete information, you are invited to panel discussion about ethical business. Welcome, Nikita. So, don't afraid to be the first speaker. Yes, it is challenging. Maybe you are afraid of being first, but people will remember you anyway because this guy was a hero. He was first speaker after the lunch. You can have 40 seconds of presentation, but you will be hero for these people. So try to be the first or the last.
Okay.
So do you guys have any questions? This is like free advice up here. Take it while you can. Do you want to come up to the microphone in the middle so that everyone can hear you? Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. This guy is very cool because you will remember him anyway because he's going to tell you something. Do the same. Now you can try to sell something.
I'd like to believe that people remember me for not just coming and adding a point, but adding some value. So whenever there's a sales presentation, one thing that has worked for us, I'd like to share that. Always in a sales presentation, the client is very happy when you tell them what the competitors are doing. So what we do in the sales presentation is have 1 or 2 slides which talks about the SWOT analysis. We talk about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats around the client that we're presenting, and that always adds value in the presentation. So on sales presentation, adding a SWOT analysis helps. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I think that kind of depends on what you're going to talk about, right? Like, what specific industry are you in, brother? Advertising. Yeah. Exactly. But for real estate, you don't usually talk about SWOT analysis, right? I see a nod there. Yeah. So it kind of depends on the niche or the market.
Yes, and I have one very interesting idea from my teacher of public speeches, and our moderator has told us the same, to make difficult things as simple as it is real. Because one very challenging problem is difficult and unknown words for your clients and for your listeners. Because, for example, our listener doesn't know anything about SWOT analysis. So this person becomes switched off until the end of this day. Because during the end of the day, this listener will think, SWOT analysis, it's S-W-O-T. He will Google this word. Maybe he will Google something else, not SWOT, but SWOT analysis. I don't know, there is SWOT analysis. So if you see strange word in your presentation, delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it. So no strange words, everything simple, everything clear. I have told you about 7 main ideas that you keep in mind on 7 main ideas. Actually, our moderator told us about 3 main ideas. And you told us about Steve Jobs, iPad, iPhone, and something else. I have Android, sorry for it. But 3 products, it's clear. Buy iPhone, buy iPad, and AirPods, which? iMac, yes. Sorry, I'm Windows user. Sorry, guys. But 7 on 3 main ideas, not 20, not 30. I'm sure that you all are great speakers, you all are great businessmen, but if you are going to tell something long and something difficult, just show QR code or your content. Guys, feel free to email me, I will send you all presentations and all explanation, because maybe this way you will get extra content and you will make people feel very happy. Oh, he will offer some gifts or something like that. So send gifts to your clients. Yeah.
What's your gift budget?
I can send you
Kevin will do it.
presentation.
Yeah, come on, dude. He just
Do you want to come up to the microphone? Did you want to come up and ask a question? Because we have got some questions, so let's get through these. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to ask, what is the most challenging, let's say, thing that startups actually have when they prepare presentations? From your point of view as experts, what are
I'll
the
take
most
that.
challenging aspects? Thanks.
So I think as a startup, it's all about beating the inertia, right? I mean, there's a lot of things holding you back. a lot of places your mind's going to be running at, because you need to worry about where you're getting funded from, are these employees going to leave me right now, etc., etc., etc. But I think at the core of it, to start off, you need to tell your audience who you really are, right, and what your strengths are. So these two things put together with what is it that they can get out of you has to be critically defined in your presentation, is what I feel.
This is not exactly what I'm asking. Actually, I'm asking you as an agency, when they come and talk to you, what would be the first thing
Okay.
that you really
So we
face
have a
lots of
framework.
challenges
So we
with?
have a framework, right? So typically the framework is to tell them what, okay, so we set the context up for them. We do a research, understand who their audiences are, right? Go back to them with a business opportunity. Tell them that, you know what, because these are your audiences, this is how they behave. What we feel is a percentage of them may actually convert to clients for you. Then go back to them with a consolidated approach. I don't know if that was what you were looking for, but yeah, sort of, right?
I'm gonna talk about my portion of my experience, at least working with real estate people, right? So we usually work with people, multifamily syndicators. So what they do is they wanted to raise millions of dollars to be able to buy apartment complex and then renovate it and then lease it and then give their investors the return that they promise, right? So we help them to create the pitch deck. And so there are a bunch of multifamily syndicators in the US, not just hundreds, but even thousands of LLCs, right? And one of the biggest thing that I notice every time that one prospect jumps on a call with me is that they don't have any idea of how to connect to their audience from a branding perspective. Like, what does it separate them from the thousands of multifamily syndicators out there? They can't even tell. So that's one of the biggest thing that's kind of, pain in the ass for them.
I can share my story with you. My biggest challenge in presentation was not on meeting with my clients. My biggest challenging, like a speaker and presentation, was on conference 2 years ago. It happened in China, and the venue was not so small as this one. It was a kind of hockey arena, and there were 2,000 people. And I was frustrated. 2,000 people, I have 30 minutes to tell them something. But sorry, when I enter the stage, I understand that actually we have very cool lights here. There was a kind of laser show. There were very bright projectors, very bright lights. So on the 5th or 6th minutes of my presentation, all these lights and all lasers was targeted at me, at my face. So in 10 minutes, I suppose that, okay, I become blind right now because I didn't see anything. I was talking with gray area around me, and I was trying to understand where is the edge of the stage. And sometimes when I made 10 steps left, I see a voice, stop, nope, nope, don't do it. Okay, 10 steps right, 10 steps left. I didn't see anything. And I just raised my hand, look at my presentation. I suppose it's here, maybe it's here, but it doesn't matter. It was a part of your question, actually. I didn't try to work with my presentation because I didn't see my presentation because I was blind thanks to lasers and thanks to lights. But it was still great presentation because I worked with my voice by heart. I was trying to do everything possible with my voice because I have a presenter clicker, but I don't know second slide, third slide, which slide actually? Guys, look at this information, and they tell something, tell something, tell something, tell something. Sometimes you can get into troubles not because of strange clients, not because of broken PowerPoint. Sometimes maybe you will get into troubles thanks to venue and to areas. That is why, please, always come to venue, to meeting room before your clients and before your guests, because this way you will get extra information. Chair, is it okay? Water. Is there any water? Maybe our guests have already stolen all water from speakers. And sometimes I arrive to meeting room in 1 hour or in 2 hours before my clients, because maybe I will have enough time to order another meeting room with good air conditioner and with some other advantages. Sometimes placing of presentation is much better than your content. Because remember about context. We still don't know what is context, but we will try to set up our context.
Yeah, I think we still have 5 minutes, so I think that's enough to accommodate one or two more questions.
Anyone else want to ask? Would you like to come up to the microphone? Tell everybody who you are.
Pleasure to meet you guys. First of all, thank you so much for the insightful information you're giving us. If you allow me, I'm gonna milk my opportunity. I'm gonna ask you two questions, please. You know, in the thousands of clients that you've worked with, all of you, of course you've met the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'd like, my first question is, how do you deal with the ugly part of your clients? For example, you're inside a meeting, you're going full speed ahead, then there's one funny guy, who wants to prove to his manager that he's blah, 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 blah. That's question number one. Question number two is that how do you deal, in your perspective, with technologically inferior clients? Like clients who don't know anything, in which language do you talk with them so that you don't make them look stupid? Thank
Very
you.
tactfully put.
Yes.
So you want to go about the ugly clients first?
I just would like to thank our guest and please pay attention to him. You all will remember him. That was I was talking about. 2 questions, a last questionnaire, and very tactical put of questions. We have 3 minutes, but it's enough for us. First of all, speaking about ugly and bad clients, next panel discussion will be about ethical business. You're welcome. So, and sometimes, yes, we face clients who don't understand anything in technological, and sometimes we meet clients who are much smarter than my own team. If you suppose that maybe your client won't understand anything, prepare infographic for him, and please pay attention to format of your emails. My emails is like a Wikipedia and other websites. First, second, so bullets, numbers, and then I put a comments. And please remember this, and this emoji down, something in the bold. And sometimes I got replies, Nikita, still nothing clear, but I see that you try to take care about us. Thank you for that. So try to do the same.
No, I think there was this one instance where I've made 99 iterations of a presentation and the client was a complete nightmare, right, initially. But I think the persistence, right, that's really what pushed the game around. And I think today she's a good friend. So, I mean, things happen, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're in the service industry, it is a thankless job, right? And I don't think looking at a client in that manner should even be entertained in the first place. I mean, at the end of the day, they're the ones because of which we're here. And I feel that that's important. To answer the other question, what was the other question?
What do you do to not make
Sorry.
a less inferior
So
prospect?
technology, right? Again, so see, digital is evolving almost every day. Today, there was something which probably will evolve tomorrow, and it's important for you to do your research. But yeah, I mean, some people don't get it, right? I mean, it's like explaining to your dad how to basically, delete these messages of WhatsApp, or I don't know if you get that, right? Because so yeah, it's not like I look at the client like he's my dad and explain to him, but I'm just being fair with them. I understand that people are at different levels of understanding technology and their comfort with the device is different. So, like she said earlier, make it easy. Bring it down to that last common denominator where you could probably have a rational conversation with them. Because there's no point losing your cool. At the end of the day, you have a life. You want to go back to your family, have fun, and don't take that stress back. Is what I would say.
From an agency perspective, what we do is we set boundaries to, we have a criteria of the clients that we only want to work for. So on discovery calls, we kind of ask them what their expectations are, and if it's way beyond what we can offer, it's a no for us, from us already. Now, if it's something that we feel like they are not capable to produce a draft, that is something that we need to, kind of kickstart the project, we would give them like a template of, hey, you need to provide us this, at least minimum, and even the brand guide, like your brand guide, like your logos and color palettes, so that it would be easy for us to, do our job as presentation design. So even if they are inferior in terms of, the requirements to kind of like enter to our client pool, we still give them assistance in order for them to meet the minimum expectation.
And I would like to end up with an expected answer. Maybe clients shouldn't understand you. Just sell them cool feeling of confidence that you will do everything for them. Maybe it will be enough. I believe in you.
Thank you so much. Do you see what he did there? Do you see what he did there?
Yes, I
Made
did
sure
it.
he had the last word. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Fascinating discussion.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You know you're on my radar now, right? So Nikita.